So could you start us off with the 4096 material?
I came up with this mathematically, just as the progression of the model numbers of D-Wave's adiabatic quantum computers. 4096 represents an adiabatic quantum computer that operates on qubits. 4096 is the number of qubits within this computer. I sent that to you guys, as I do most of my research when I think it's pertinent to what you're looking at, and you blew me away. Absolutely, I had no idea the ramifications of that number in terms of the cosmos, the entities, the planetary alignments, and the literal translation of 4096. So let's just kind of recap a little bit, because I recall your video that the two of you produced. And what struck me is what you said, 4096 is related directly to Shiva. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So for the benefit of myself as well as the audience, can you break down that relationship just a little bit more? Can you tell me, does 4096 translate to Shiva in some form? What do you see the relationship between 4096 and Shiva to be?
Well, I think it's the same story about the gamble that Thoth did with Sin, the moon god, in order to gather 5 days for Osiris, Nephthys, Set, and Isis to be born. And that is the birth. That is the resurrected Saturn. Then there was the Ogdo. They represent 4 frogs and 4 snakes. They are gods of the dead. And Orion, when there is a cycle of the sun and the moon, and they connect at a certain time together, that is when they do a lot of their rituals. And I think that Nostradamus said when the moon and the sun and Jupiter is lined up, that's when the 5th age begins, and that's 9/23/2017. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the 5th age is going to start that day, but I'm just saying that it is in reference to what he predicted a long time ago.
So we know that Shiva, it has 3 stages: destruction, then a wasteland or a level playing field, a clean sheet of paper, we might call it, and then the rebirth. So what I hear you saying is there's a resurrection of Saturn that is represented both by Shiva and by 4096. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Because that's what we're talking about in the physics end of it, where we talk about the electrical reconnecting of Earth to Saturn by way of the Birkeland currents, the plasma conduit that we've talked about so often, that'll be generated by the Large Hadron Collider. And this is something that a lot of people have emailed me back, and even people that have interviewed me have struggled with, and I've struggled with it as well. Being able to really pinpoint some evidence, some factual evidence, both historically, as you're doing when you're talking about the Ogdode and you're talking about the sun and the moon and Jupiter and Orion, but being able to take it to the present time and say, we have a computer that is labeled the 4096, which translates to Shiva in a certain respect and represents the resurrection of Saturn. And then you toss in the 4 frogs, the 4 demonic entities. The reason that I'm focusing on this is because this really can crystallize the discussion about why are they focused on Saturn, why do they worship Saturn, and why do they want a stronger electrical connection. And just for the sake of the audience, the 3 of us have talked about the electric model of the universe for a couple of years now, and all of the planets are electrically connected. There is a plasma that exists in what mainstream science calls the vacuum of space, or dark matter, dark energy, is actually electric plasma, charged ionized gas. And through that medium, which is conductive, all of the planets are still electrically connected to one another. It has been my premise that one of the principal agendas with the Large Hadron Collider at CERN is to establish a stronger electrical connection between Saturn and the Earth for the purpose of opening the gateway to the abyss.